Hello and welcome to English Literature with Susan. Here I'm talking about the fourth part of the Wasteland. If you're interested, you can watch my exclusive videos on each part of the poem. I have explained the poem line by line. I have explained the allusions. So you can find the videos there on YouTube. But the fourth part, Death by Water, in this part, finally, the death which was foretold and foreshadowed in the first part of the poem happened. Uh, in the first part, there was a Madame Sosastres to whom the speaker of the poem went to see his future, and he was warned by death by water. So Madame Sosastres told him, "Fear death by water," and this death happens. But if we're in the context of the wasteland, we have to know that death is a necessary thing in this wasteland to happen, because if there are no forms of death, then there would be no resurrection, or no savior would come, no Messiah would come. We know this by the references made to the hanged man, for example, who was a sacrificing prophet who sacrificed himself for the sake of the good harvest, or in the ancient times. Or they may have the reference to the religious context of the Bible, the New Testament, in which we know that by the crucifixion and the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, mankind would be saved. So this death would happen, therefore we can expect a resurrection. So this section has been interpreted as signifying death by water without resurrection, or as symbolizing the sacrificial death that precedes rebirth. But we don't know whether resurrection happens or not in this part, but there are some hypotheses presented in the fifth part of the poem. So here we see just death by water. In many occasions in the poem, there were references to this death by water. We had different characters in The Tempest, in Shakespeare's Hamlet, who had experienced or met death by water. We had the Mad King of Bavaria. So the death by water was all the time in there, and now it is happening. And I should add that this part, the fourth part of the poem, was much, much longer than what is now today in the new versions of the poem, in the modern versions of it, because Ezra Pound, who was the editor of the poem, has cut this part short to 10 lines, and he had cut about 100 lines of this part on account that this is too heroic for the context of the wasteland, or for the context of modern times. So death by water is happening, and we're going to read these lines. Phlebas, the Phoenician, the sailor whose card shown death by water by Madame Sosastres, a fortnight dead, he's now dead for 2 weeks, forgot the cry of gulls and the deep sea swell. The deep sea swell, the changes the body had undergone after death, and the provident loss. He was a merchant, and now there are no profits, no loss. He's dead, and he's totally free from the worldly affairs, whatever they were, and however successful he was as a merchant. A current under sea pecked his bones in vespers. So no one is hearing him, no one is aware of his death. As he rose and fell by the water, he passed the stages of his age and youth. The ebbs and flows of his life are just followed with the movements of the water, of the waves over the sea, entering the whirlpool, and then his body enters the whirlpool, and we don't know what happens to him. So maybe he is lost, maybe a resurrection may happen. We are at the state of suspense here at this point in the poem. Gentile or Jew, the speaker is talking now. Gentile or Jew, whether you're Christian or not, whether you're a believer or a non-believer, oh, you who turn the veil, and we had the card veil, the veil of life, the passage of time. Oh, you who turn the veil, oh, who seem to control the time and look to windward, that and move with the stream of the wind. You change directions as the wind does, so you're not stable. You are there when there is some benefit for you. Consider Phlebas. Remember that death would come. Consider Phlebas, who was once handsome and tall as you. You will also die one day, and death would happen, maybe without resurrection, or any outcomes. So we have to read the next part, the fifth part of the poem, to know about what is happening after death. But for the time being, this was the explanation of part 4 of the Wasteland. Thank you for listening.